Hey guys, it's Rob here. Today we'll be revisiting a ranking I wasn't quite satisfied with after hearing some new news, ranking every operating classic Rock-afire Explosion show. There were multiple things wrong with the main one being me finding out about the existence of more full shows in private. Plus, since the making of that video, a new operating show has opened up, so I wanted to be able to rank it as well. As usual with these types of videos, I've got a few rules, so let's go over those real quick. Firstly, I am only ranking shows that are currently operating, so any shows that either don't exist anymore or are not currently operating won't be included here. CEI's show was given an exception last time, though I've decided to not include it this time since there's no reason for them to be an exception. Also, the show needs to have enough public footage so that I can properly assess the condition of the show. Otherwise, it really is not fair to rank it. Third, there must be recent enough footage of the show so that we know it's still operating, and also to get an idea of the more current condition. Womi will also not be included here for that reason, as we have no proof that it is operating anymore due to the fact that the latest footage of it is from over 2 years ago, and I've been hearing stuff about the show possibly not being there anymore as well. Also, this is all my opinion, so you're free to disagree with it if you'd like. Now that we've gone over those, let's get them ranked.
Disappointment in the game of life!
Billy Bob's Wonderland is the last of a small franchise of what was once a chain of a few stores, opening back in 2003 in Barbersville, West Virginia. It's the last store after the others had closed. I also went to see this one back during BillyCon 3, though it's been nearly a year since that, so a lot has changed, right? Well, since the making of the last video, we've been able to see what has happened since the deal with Aaron and Brian went through, and the answer is nothing. In fact, the show seems to be in the same shape as when I covered it last time. The only real difference is that Billy Bob's mask was swapped out, though unfortunately that mask is also already ripping at the mouth. In fact, the majority of the masks are ripping at the mouths, and none of the other masks have been replaced since then, and they will not be receiving official masks due to the fact that they cost too much to get. Overall, the show still has this janky movement to it that isn't smooth like the Rock-afire is supposed to have, and some of the movements are also out across the show, with one of Duke's head turns and both of his arm swings being notable examples of this. Berlin also no longer works here, and with the current tech leaving the position soon, I don't feel confident about the show's condition improving. Overall, while it's in better shape than it was pre-2022, it still has degraded quite a bit since then.
Oh, these are pretty cool bananas.
This is a show located in Fridley, Minnesota, and consists partially of Chimpy's Pizza Safari cosmetics, with his Duke being completely decked out in his outfit from that place. We don't know where the bots themselves came from, unfortunately. The footage for Center Stage is quite recent, being only a few months old, though the side stages come from about 4 years ago. As for the condition, they look to be in fully working shape, though the cosmetics are a different story. Although Duke, Fats, and Looney Bird have fine enough looking masks, the rest either look like bootlegs or are not in the greatest of shape, with Rolf's mask tearing a bit around the mouth. Overall, it's a nice enough show, though the cosmetics could definitely look better.
Mike Wazowski!
Mike's show is a Rock-afire setup that is quite obscure, with me only being able to find a couple of pieces of footage of it. All but Fats from the Center Stage characters came from the Cedar Rapids, Iowa location, and were restored back into Rock-afire characters. The setup is also located in Missouri. Luckily, despite the small amount of footage, it's enough to rank the show off of. Why is it this low, you may ask? Well, the cosmetics are quite strange looking, and I don't really like the way Mitzi here looks specifically, especially the mask. The cosmetics are better than John's show though, so I decided to rank it higher.
And have such a wonderful day!
This is a show located in Little Improv, Mississippi, at a small museum alongside a balcony stage, though we're only ranking the Rock-afire stage set up here. The show is in fully working shape mechanically, though the cosmetics are also not great on this show. Specifically, Fats and Mitzi's are the worst of the masks, with Beach Bear not having that great of one either. Overall, though, this show is still solid. This is a show located in a barn in Pendleton, Indiana. While the show is in fully working order like the rest, this show entirely consists of bootleg masks, which definitely do not look as good as the originals. This for me really brings down the show, as although the masks are in good shape, they don't look as good. The one redeeming quality of this show comes from the fact that, to my knowledge, they put out Santa every Christmas to replace Ralph and Earl. Although he doesn't look as good as he could, this is still quite a unique thing to have, and does elevate the show a bit for me. Overall, this is a good show, but the bootleg masks are my biggest problem, and ultimately bring it down from what it could have been.
In their own theatre, Bob Bear and all his friends will entertain you.
I omitted this one last time because I'd heard it was being restored, but it turns out I was wrong. This is the Rock-afire set that was retrofitted into a band called the Hardlook Bears, using masks from the show of the same name by CEI for the characters that weren't bears. While this technically doesn't make it a Rock-afire Explosion, they're the exact same animatronics mechanically and perform the same shows now, so both currently operating sets are counted here. Condition-wise, this show works well. The main reason this show is in the middle of the ranking is mainly because the show doesn't stand out a whole lot, aside from being entirely bears, and I don't like the bear retrofit as much as the original, which also contributes to its ranking here. Overall, this is a pretty good show, just not one that stands out as being particularly great. This Rock-afire Explosion is located in a barn outside the Volo Auto Museum in Volo, Illinois. I went to go see this one nearly a month ago, and that whole trip was a fun experience that you can check out here if you'd like. But anyways, the reason this wasn't on the last list was because it hadn't even been revealed that this set was going to be opening to the public until early 2024. After seeing it in person though, this is definitely a good set of bots mechanically, with the only broken movements being the telematics, so both the sun and moon, as well as Looney Bird, are all stuck being fully raised. The reason this set is lower down is because overall, the masks aren't as good as they could be, aside from Looney's, which was painted more recently and looks great. Being older masks, they don't look quite right, with Duke and Rolf's masks being discolored, and Beach Bear's mask has these strange looking craters all over his mask that definitely don't look too good. The moon is also pitiful looking. Still, they're not too bad, and the main reason the show's in the middle of the ranking is because these masks aren't the best of the best, and I still enjoyed this show. Overall, it's a pretty good show, though some of the masks could be replaced with better ones. Also, huge shout out to Showbiz Midwest yet again for helping set up the show, as well as being the tech of the show.
He's the funniest robot science ever made.
This is a show located in Switzerland, at a place called the Dreamfactory, which is a museum with a bunch of cool stuff, including a Rock-afire Explosion. The set actually came from one of the locations in Wichita, Kansas, which is pretty interesting. Now, the set technically isn't complete, as it doesn't have a Looney Bird, but it does make up for it because of the fact that they have an operating Uncle Clunk, which is on a turntable with Rolf and Earl that allows them to switch between each other. Speaking of Uncle Clunk, since the last video, he's also gotten a unique backdrop, and also has a functional abomination sign, both of which are quite cool. There's also this cool bunny TV that displays show content. Although this is definitely a cool setup, and these features do elevate it as high as it does, the main downplay of this show is two factors. Firstly, some of the masks are not good. Most of the center stage ones look solid, but Mitzi looks about as old as her mask does. Luckily, I've heard this will be replaced soon, but for now, this is probably the worst looking mask on the show. I'm also not fond of Billy Bob or Rolf's masks, as they look off. The other thing about this show is the flow adjustment. Last time I said it looked good, and while I do agree that for some shows these adjustments look good, there's times when the show definitely seems like it's going too fast, so overall I don't think the flow adjustments are the greatest. Still, the unique aspects of the show had me rank it this high. Oh no.
Say hello, Looney!
This is the more well-known of the Gulliver's shows, as it seems to be the more public of the two shows. This show was also retrofitted into the Hardlook Bears, with all of them being bears except Earl and Looney Bird. The reason this one ranks so highly is because of a few different things. Firstly, I think Beach Bear and Looney Bird's masks look quite good on this show, and although I don't like the bear retrofits as much as the originals, this show has quite the special stage, as it is decked out with all sorts of stuff. Rolf and Earl's stage, for example, has a band of loot bots behind them, which is cool, and there's an entire section of greenery in front of the stage, which is where Antioch and Choo Choo reside as well. There's even a fountain that shoots water out, which is another nice touch. Overall, these combined with the fact that I find the show to be adjusted quite well, makes this a really nice show. Of course, the main downsides come from the fact that this is the retrofit which I don't like as much, and I also think the Billy Bob mask could look better, and I think Warrington's looks better compared to this one. Overall though, this is a great show, though it's not quite as good as the next one. When I first saw this show unveiled back in September, I was quite impressed by it, and it really did blow me away. This is a show that came from a former Showbiz pizza place, though I don't know which one, and honestly, it looks great overall, with the adjustments being just fast enough without being too fast, and the cosmetics are overall great. I also appreciate the extra attention to even how the stage was done originally, with the stage itself having the wooden walls on both sides where the speakers would go. It's something I really liked about the stages, and I'm glad it was incorporated here. I will say though, there are a few cosmetics that could be a bit improved, though I am aware that everything looks the way Jack wanted to, so it's all intentional. Namely, Rolf's mask has his eyes looking bug-eyed for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why. Other more minor nitpicks include the way Billy Bob's head fur was done, specifically to the top as the shape looks off, and Fatz's mask, which I think is just how the mold looks, though I prefer the one with the more prominent eyebrows. Same with the Beach Bear's fur. The raw fur actually does look good with the character despite being longer, though I would have probably made a bit of reproduction fur specifically to replicate Beach Bear's beta fur, since that's the look he was trying to replicate, like he did with Duke's, though I'm sure there was a reason that he wasn't able to do this, so this wasn't a bad replacement, just not as good. Overall though, this show is great, and those small nitpicks don't take away from that fact. Thank you guys for watching this video. It was fun going through the shows again and ranking them, and especially getting to rank the new ones on this list. My next video is going to be going over Greensboro, North Carolina, which had quite the interesting exterior for a while at one point. If you'd like to see that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you're notified when it drops. God bless, and I hope you all have a blessed day.